This is not a normal episode of Flippin' Friday. This is actually gonna be the blueprint that I'm personally gonna use to make literal thousands of dollars, and you can honestly copy this and make some money for yourself. I'm super excited. Let's go. Instead of targeting a total build price like we normally do, where we're just trying to get the best price to performance, today we're gonna be targeting a total sale price, which I wanna be $999. The Ryzen 5 5600 is one of the best CPUs for personal gaming PCs, or especially flips, because it can pair with almost the top of the line GPUs, and the motherboards for it just aren't that expensive either. The reason why I want our total sale build price to be $999 is because that's what I want the next price of our restockable builds on the ZTT website to be. I just want there to be an always available $1,000 gaming PC. So that's what we're building today. And again, the Ryzen 5 5600 is literally perfect for a build like that, especially with a high profit margin. Now, next up, we have the motherboard, RAM, and CPU cooler. And honestly, these models don't have to be super specific, and they can all be swapped out depending on what deals you can find. But today I have the ASRock A520M Phantom Gaming motherboard, G-Skill Ripjaws 2x8GB at 3600 megahertz. The SSD is a 1TB Team Group MP33. And finally, the CPU cooler we have is the Thermaltake UX200. Before moving on to the rest of the parts list though, let's hear a quick word from today's sponsor.
Today's video is sponsored by Corsair, and specifically their new Qatar Pro wireless gaming mouse, which is such a great option for both me and my audience that's looking for that super clean price to performance gaming mouse. The Qatar Pro wireless connects with either Bluetooth or Corsair's own Slipstream wireless technology using the USB dongle. It's powered by a single AA battery, which lasts around 135 hours. It's super lightweight at only 96 grams, and the best part is it only costs $39.99. This symmetric and clean shape is perfect for gamers with claw and fingertip grips, and there's two buttons on the left-hand side and even an on-the-fly DPI button in the middle. It's also powered by Corsair's IQ software for the ultimate customization, and you can get one for yourself by clicking that first link down in the description.
If you have your sale price target, which we do at $999, the next thing you want to do is try to adjust your profit margins. So for a $1,000 build, you probably want a total build price of around $800 to $850. That ensures that your profit is anywhere from $200 to $150, which would be really good. And then just know the cheaper your build gets, the lower that profit margin can possibly be. And next up for our parts list, here I'm using a power supply that I'm honestly not thrilled with, the Cooler Master Master Watt 550 watt. This is actually only a tier C model, and it's not that great of one to begin with, and I would definitely prefer a tier B, but at the time of producing this video, there's just no other deals to be had. If you're following this at home, then I would rather try to target something like the 550 watt Thermaltake BM2, the XBG Pylon, or maybe even the Asus Tough series. Those all usually go on sale for around $50, which is what I paid for this one, and those are much better units, and we're gonna be using those in our own restockable builds in the future. But again, this is all I can find, and it's gonna get the job done for this $1,000 build. And plugging into our PSU, we of course have some cable extensions, and even if you're targeting an all black and RGB build, I would still recommend using them. These are from Formula Mod, and I've actually been using these more and more lately. They're usually about $2 cheaper than Asia Horse, and since you save a ton of time by not having to install cable combs, I think you'll start to see these more and more on the channel again. Now that our motherboard and our power supply are prepped and ready to go, it's time to get them inside our case, and this is none other than what I'm honestly calling my favorite case of 2022, the Fractal Design Pop Mini Air. I've been buying this a ton, and you guys have been seeing it. I just really like using this case, so it's perfect for a restockable build. I love the small form factor and micro ATX compatibility, which is cheaper to ship, and with the 3 pre-installed RGB fans, this is some pretty solid value for a higher end mid-range build. One of the things that I strive for when picking a case for my PC flips, especially one that we're gonna be rebuilding over and over again, is I try to select a case that kind of just does all of the aesthetic work for you and can make any component list look good. And that's exactly what the Pop Mini Air does, because not only do we have the 3 pre-installed RGB fans, but there's also just an RGB port baked into the case itself for other RGB products like our CPU cooler. And with that combined with just the overall aesthetic and form factor of the case, this just does all the aesthetic work for you, and I don't have to do anything else. If you're planning a build that you're gonna build over and over again, it's just not gonna be that fun to pick a case that doesn't come with pre-installed fans, or one that doesn't look that great, so it relies on the other components to make the build look good. This is also why I like the Montech Air 100 so much. And finally, we have the graphics card, and with the way I structured this build with the 5600, 16 gigabytes of RAM and everything else, you can honestly swap this GPU for any graphics card that realistically fits the price point that you're trying to hit. But for $999, the best realistic and repeatable GPU that I can really squeeze in here is the RX 6650 XT. This usually goes for around $250 to $270. I personally paid $250 for this one brand new on Newegg, and that's a pretty good deal. But if you wanted this to be a slightly cheaper build, then you could definitely go with a 6600 XT or even a 6600, and then you could also bump this up to a 6700 XT or a 6800 as well, and that would be perfectly fine. With the 6650 XT priced at $250, that allows our total build price to be a bit less than what I was going for at $775. But honestly, I got some really solid deals on this one, so this one isn't 100% repeatable. Most likely in the future, this one will cost a bit more than what you're seeing on the screen now. On a pretty busy day where I can't sit back and be patient and really snipe the good deals, or if we just have a lot of orders come in unexpectedly, this is most likely gonna cost around $815 to even $830, but that still results in a pretty good profit margin as well. It's also important to not forget about some of the extra costs, such as activating Windows, all of the shipping materials such as the box, the foam, and the plastic corner protectors, and even paying an employee to help with the benchmarking and configuring like I do. And speaking of those benchmarks, here's what we got for that Ryzen 5 5600 and RX 6650 XT combo, and as you can tell, this is a dominant 1080p gaming PC. You could certainly make a case for some 1440p gaming, but I think the sweet spot for a build like this is 1080p, but with some higher settings. And if you're a dedicated PC flipper, then let me know down in the comment section what your $1,000 blueprint is looking like for a 2023 flip. And if you're not, well, then you can always just buy this PC on my website. It'll be for sale, like I said earlier. And as always, hopefully you enjoyed this episode. Make sure you click the card that's on the screen now to catch up on all the other episodes of Flippin' Friday, and I'll see you guys in the next video.